Hey, what's good, family? It's your man, Mark Black. You know what time it is. Happy Hump Day to all of you. Let's do work. Before I get started, just a couple of things real quick. If you haven't done so, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. Let YouTube know this is the content you want to see. If you haven't shared it on social media, make sure you do so as well. Also, check the links in the description field below. There are links to resources there, reports, including there will be a link to the report that we're going to be discussing today. There'll be a link there in the description field for reports. There's links to books and other resources to help you get up on your ADOS advocacy. Also, fam, if you like my work, you want to see more of it, you want to support your fam, please make sure to consider joining my Patreons. I appreciate all of you who are already members of the Angry Black Sheep, but let's take it up to the next level. There's so much more I want to do for you, but I need your help to do it, all right? So please consider becoming a patron. Link to my Patreon is also in the description field below the video as well. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the state of ADOS politics, because as you all know, there's been a lot of things that's happened over the last few days, right? Of course, we all know about the mass shootings in both Dayton as well as El Paso that occurred this weekend. There was another attempted mass shooting, I believe, on Monday, right? Lot of people going on various pale stream media outlets talking about it. As you well know, Eddie Glaude had something to say that everybody thought was very profound. I didn't, but you know, it is what it is. And the only thing for me was that I thought what he said was spot on, except right at the end, he said, "This is us," you know, trying to soften the blow for the white folks that he was sitting next to in the studio. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, he was spot on with everything he said. He should have drove it home. This is you. This is why, family, we need to discuss the state of our political advocacy at this particular point, because there's a lot of people who unfortunately still, I won't say they're still plugged into the matrix, right? If you get on this ADOS advocacy, you're definitely not in the matrix, but these people are still like susceptible, right, to the agents. They're still susceptible to people coming up to them and saying, "Oh, look at the mass shootings and look at this and look at that," and kind of changing things up. And we need to discuss it, right? So first and foremost, fam, the state of ADOS politics right now is, in my opinion, solid. Right? We've been doing some fine work, family. We've got ADOS candidates for office running in various places across the country. We have single-handedly forced various politicians to address our justice claim, to address what they've done for us, address their record. We've had Antonio, as of the other day, on Al Jazeera defending us on an international stage. Fam, this thing is growing by leaps and bounds. And I don't want you to ever forget that you right now are at the ground floor. You are at the very beginning of what promises to be the most potent political advocacy and political force this country has ever seen. And kudos to all of us. Oh, before I go in, let me do the normal, right? Shout out to Universal Mike, Miss Denny's in the house, Black Man 903's in the house, on code, B1 to you, fam. Name again, peace to you. Let's see here. We got the beloved sister Christine Williams, Sister Alma's in the house, my man Double C. What's up, esteemed brother? I see you. And brother LaShawn is in the house. Remember the rules, fam. You show up, let us know you're here so we can shout you out. Now, so the state, and there she is, beloved sister Monty. I see you, sis. Happy Hump Day and welcome to the broadcast. CKD1 is in the house too as well. So yeah, as CKD1 says, we're forcing these fools to change the narrative. Miss Sister Kanuri's in the house too as well. Happy Hump Day to you all and welcome to the broadcast. Fam, we are doing some powerful work and we have only gotten started. But we do need to make sure that we pay attention to the various narratives out there, not with necessarily a stance to combat those narratives, right? I am doing well, Alma, and thank you for asking. But more so that we can continue to better ground ourselves in the data, right? Because all of these people come at us from various directions, but as soon as we boom hit them with the facts, all they can do is sambo babble. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 right? Sambo babble. You see what I'm saying? So we need to make sure that we stay up on our advocacy. We stay grounded in this data. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you guys that is of concern to me is what I call the shiny ball syndrome, for lack of a better way to say it, right? We are human beings. We happen to be ADOS human beings, but we're human beings. And so when everybody and their mom is talking about a particular topic, it's easy to run along with the herd, right? It's easy to say, oh my God, these mass shootings. Oh my God, China just lowered the value of the yuan and so on and so forth, right? And I get it. I have interests outside of ADOS. However, sometimes we can get caught up on shiny ball syndrome, right? We don't want to look like we're so far outside of what everybody else is thinking or what everybody else is doing that we kind of put pause to our advocacy to address issues that are not necessarily ours to address. I'll give you a case in point. I too, on Saturday, for my Sucker Free Saturday broadcast, addressed the shooting in El Paso. Because remember, when we did the broadcast, the shooting in Dayton hadn't happened yet. I issued condolences to all of those who were affected by it. I have a heart. You feel me? Marunda, welcome to the broadcast. Happy Hump Day to you, and thank you. But now, fast forward a few hours, and the incident in Dayton occurs. Right? Now, what did we notice, fam, over the next few days? El Paso was all over the news, right? They laid out the various people who were hurt or killed and so on and so forth, right? And they mentioned Dayton as a mass shooting, right? But here's the thing. They openly acknowledged the racial component of what happened in El Paso. There was a manifesto. There was a whole 9 yards. So there was no denying the white supremacist component of the mass shooting there in El Paso. However, this man killed his own sister in Dayton and shot and killed 6 black people. But they couldn't even acknowledge that that was a hate crime, that there was any type of racial element to it. So we were all distracted, or I should say some of us were distracted by the fact that everybody was discussing El Paso, that we simply just let them pass. We let them slide on treating the deaths of our people in Dayton with the respect and the dignity that they deserved. The only thing that I have to say at this point is that unless they are willing to address the mass murders of my people, of ADOS people, as hate crimes and address them with legislation and all the other stuff they're talking about doing because of what happened in El Paso, I don't want to hear shit about El Paso. I could care less. Don't get me wrong. I have a heart. I acknowledge that it's a tragedy. But unless you're going to keep that same energy for my 6 that died in Dayton as you kept for the 20 or so that died in El Paso, I don't give a damn what you're talking about as far as El Paso goes. That is what I'm talking about, family. The shiny ball syndrome gets us caught up and distracted in all these little fires that are going on, right? They talking about R. Kelly again instead of Dayton. They talking about the fact that white folks actually got a heart and went and helped clean up West Baltimore rather than what happened in Dayton. What happened in West Baltimore? That wasn't altruism. That wasn't charity. Understand, family, these same folk, many of them who went into West Baltimore and helped clean up the place, and thank you for them, thanks to them for doing it. Those are the same people who went back home that night, jumped on their various white supremacy forums talking about dindus and, nigger this and nigger that, right? See, fam, when we get caught up with the shiny ball syndrome, we let all these little distractions like glitter just sprinkle everywhere. And we're like, oh, look at that, look at that, look at that. And it gets us off our square. Remember, fam, we are single issue voters and advocates. We are here for the justice claim, and that's it. I don't give a damn what else is happening anywhere else. Don't get me wrong. It's good to know about it. It's good to know about it, and it's good so that you can be able to express your condolences and so on and so forth. But yeah, in Alma, in Dayton, it was clear that it was a racially motivated event. The girl, his sister that was killed, right, now, of course, the media won't come out and say this, right? But people talk. Allegedly, she was dating a black man. And because of that, along with his racial animus towards black people, he grabbed his AR-15 with a 100-round mag, went over there into that area and started shooting. And the only thing that saved it from being worse than El Paso, because from what I understand, that area in Dayton is a pretty poppin' area. The only thing that saved it from being another El Paso was the fact that the cops patrolled that area regularly. They spotted him and they was able to take him down quickly. They killed him in under a minute. Otherwise, there would have been more bodies because he came loaded for bear. But we could talk about white supremacy when it affects primarily, Hispanics. But nobody wants to talk about white supremacy and how it primarily and disproportionately affects ADOS. Thank you, Vernell, for that. I appreciate the love, fam. I'm going to tell it. By the way, shout out to Karis, shout out to Clarence, shout out to Michael DeJean. Welcome to the broadcast and happy hump day to you. You had this bastard on Twitter, Robert Reich. I don't know if you know him, but he's this big time lefty, activist and economist. Talking about Donald Trump being the engine that's driving these white supremacist acts. And fam, you got to understand something here. They want us to remain ahistorical. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They want us to remain ahistorical. They want us to treat what's happening today as if it is not part of an ongoing continuum. So this is why Robert Reich can get up and say the bullshit that he said. Because he talked about how he visited a friend in Sweden. And this friend of his asked him, what happened to your country? I used to live there a long time ago and it was so much better. And Robert Reich co-signed that shit. Talking about when I was there, y'all had just defeated the Germans in World War II. And you've done all these great and magnificent things. But the fact is, fam, is that there was never no good time here for us. Our brothers went over there and fought the Germans and the Nazis over in Europe to come back home to face the whites in America that had inspired the Nazis in Germany. But see, they want us to to act like, no. Donald Trump is the reason why everything is so racist. No, America is racist. And Donald Trump is simply the reflection of what America is. By the way, shout out to my esteemed elder brother BGS. Welcome to the broadcast, sirs. It's good to see you. That's the facts. Donald Trump didn't invent racism. By the way, peace and shalom to my sister, August Dreams. Happy Hump Day to you, sister, and welcome to the broadcast. Donald Trump didn't start racism. Racism didn't start in 2016 when he was elected. This shit has been long ongoing. But these so-called progressives, these so-called liberals want to get you stuck on shiny ball syndrome. They want you to follow all the glittering generalities and to act all ahistorical like we don't know what the hell has been going on. They got a lot of nerve because this is a new day. ADOS, we don't fall for the tricks. We stay grounded in history and data. Hell, our whole lineage is about our history. This justice claim that we're advocating for is about American history. These fools need to understand that no longer can they come to us soft-shoeing and doing rhetorical games around us. We see right through them. This is why I say that the state of ADOS politics right now is good. It can be stronger, and it will be. Don't forget, we're just at the beginning of this advocacy. Just you wait. For where it is and for where we are, this thing is solid as a rock. You have people like me, a relative nobody, who are talking to the most powerful people in America and telling them the truth every single fucking day. We're going in their faces. Shout out to Jamion, right? One of our ADOS citizen journalists who are going to where these people are, whether it's fish fries, whether it's meetings, whether it's trainings, and putting mics in their faces. You damn right, elder brother, we got to keep the fire going, and we will. If I have anything to say about it, you damn right, I'm going to keep the fire going. But we also need to understand, other than the shiny ball syndrome, right? Other than the glittering generalities that these so-called progressives are trying to hit us with, these soft racists, right? We need to pay attention to specifically what the politicians who are running to be promoted, right? Because many of these politicians that are running for president already have seats of power, such as Bernard Sanders, Kamala Chameleon Harris, Cory Corny Booker, Gillibrand, right? So they're asking you to promote them, right? To give them a promotion to president. So we need to look at not only what have they done for you or not done for you, but what is it that they're proposing to do for you? And how does it affect? How does it affect what we're advocating for? Has any of the major politicians on the Democratic side of the House actually put forward any type of policies that will go to close the racial wealth gap, that will honor our justice claim? So, in light of that, not to steal any thunder from Sister Yvette, who will be talking about this tonight, we're going to take it real high level and let her do her deep dive and go in like she always do. In that way, only she knows how. But we're going to take a glance really quick at Dr. Darity's latest report, running the numbers on closing the racial wealth gap. Let me go ahead and pop a link to the report here, so that you can download it, you can view it for yourself. It's about 15 pages of information, all right? And I would recommend strongly that you read this, because Dr. Darity put in a lot of work to get the details, to get the numbers, all right? So the first thing we're going to take a look at, fam, is we're going to look at where the racial wealth gap is, right? Now, Dr. Darity, first of all, to his credit, explains exactly how it is that we determine what is the racial wealth inequality, right? In other words, how are we measuring the gap? Because believe it or not, fam, there are two different ways to measure the racial wealth gap, one of which is more appropriate than the other one. So the first part of the report discusses just that. There are two ways, he states here, to calculate the racial wealth gap: the median gap and the mean gap. Now, they both highlight the differences between black and white wealth, right? And most political conversations look at the median, okay? And as you can see here, fam, this is the median wealth distribution by quintile, right? That's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, right? Quintile percentage, okay? Now, Dr. Darity states that the most correct way to calculate the racial wealth gap is through mean wealth distribution by wealth quintile. And if you take a look at these numbers here, you'll see that by quintile, it just becomes ridiculous. It just absolutely becomes egregious, right? When he says that the mean black-white ratio is higher than the median ratio, right? Black households have 14 cents to the dollar held by white households. The absolute dollar difference is around 795,000, more than 5 times the median difference. So it's important, fam, that when we do our advocacy, that we highlight exactly what it is that we're talking about. Because if we don't, if we allow them to frame the discussion in terms of the median wealth distribution as opposed to the mean wealth distribution, they can manipulate the numbers to make the racial wealth gap seem like less than what it actually is. Right? Now, he also highlights some information that Tone Talks, Antonio Moore, tends to mention, right? He said political pundit Antonio Moore has proposed another way to think about the black-white wealth gap at their respective means. If white wealth was distributed perfectly equally among that population, each percentile of whites would hold about 1 trillion in wealth. Similarly, if the black share of American wealth matched the black share of the nation's population, a perfectly equal distribution of African American wealth would assign about 130 billion to each percentile. At the existing level of black wealth, however, an equal percentile distribution would yield 28 billion, a shortfall of 102 billion. So if we had wealth that matched our share of the population, right? In other words, if we were made whole up to the point representing our share of the population, right? We would, if you did a equal distribution across each percentile, right? We would have $130 billion, right? But because our wealth gap is so large, if we were to do that right now, we would only have 28 billion across the percentiles. Each percentile would have 28 billion. That's a shortfall of $102 billion per percentile. It's fucking nuts, fam. It's nuts. Now, he goes on to discuss particular proposals issued by these individuals here: Corny Booker, Pete Booty Juice, I don't know how to pronounce his damn name, right? Buddy Geek, Chameleon Harris, Bernard Sanders, and Pocahontas, right? Have advanced programs that they tout as mechanisms for closing the racial wealth gap. Now, Dr. Darity is a scholar, so he's not going to dispute the fact that a lot of their plans have a great impact universally, right? Because many of these plans are essentially universal plans, okay? However, he's going to take a look at the assumptions about the most optimistic predictions about the impact of these particular programs that they're proposing, and we will see that it doesn't even come close. It doesn't even come close to addressing the racial wealth gap. So Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren, right? Right, black man, I can't with that fool. I don't know how to pronounce his damn name, right? At any rate, Kamala Harris and Elizabeth Warren are trying to push forward proposals to bring black home ownership on par with the white rate of home ownership. Now, mind you, fam, the majority of people who have a net worth, their most important asset is, yes, their home, right? But as your wealth increases, the amount of your wealth relative in your home relative to your total wealth becomes insignificant. Oh, really? Open heart, is that true? Biggest ICE rate? Well, well, I hope they all right. By the way, welcome to the broadcast. Woo! ICE is doing work. So let's look at their specific programs, right? Both proposals set up an income means test, right? So Harris wants up to 125,000, and for Elizabeth Warren, 120% of the area's median income, right? Now, here's a problem with that, right? An income means test. What about ADOS folk who, due to being first one fired, last one hired, don't have income? So right off the bat, fam, you can see how just saying home ownership is not going to do shit for the racial wealth gap. It might affect a few boomer hooked people, right? And kudos to them. But overall, in the main, it won't touch ADOS. It won't touch the racial wealth gap. Now, they also talk about the expenditures on the program. So Harris wants to cap expenditures at $100 billion. Warren doesn't set a ceiling, right? Dr. Dirty said, nevertheless, under both plans, young adult white gentrifiers living in these neighborhoods who have not purchased a home previously could benefit from these programs, diluting their positive impact on the racial wealth gap. Again, because each of these programs are not specifically targeted at ADOS, even what little benefit it would offer us toward helping to close the racial wealth gap is diluted. It's diluted. It's simple as that. So the report goes on to say that admirably, the Warren and Harris plans seek to correct the discriminatory climate that distorted black home buying opportunities throughout the 20th century. They aim to put black buyers on the same footing as white home buyers. That's an admirable and worthy goal. Note the highlight here. However, neither plan offers compensation for the harms of past conditions, and the positives they promise moving forward are undeniably encumbered by the realities of the current housing market. So in other words, neither of these plans address ADOS people who previously were victims of redlining, contract deeds, and so on and so forth, right? This is bullshit. So great, you might be talking about doing something moving forward. What about the folk that didn't get this? Now, before you say, well, they can't go back and just, take care of ADOS folk like that, bullshit. The House just passed a bill to allow gay people who were married prior to being able to file married to be able to go back retroactively and get refunds and so on and so forth for the tax returns that they filed before. And by the way, that's retroactive with no limit. That's not limited to 3 years. That's not limited to 5 years. The bill states that there's no limit to how far retroactively they are able to file back to be able to get made whole for the fact that they were unable to file married jointly before. Now, fam, let's be real. It's not gay reparations, but it's pretty damn close. These people who were harmed are being able to be made whole directly by the action of the government. I guess maybe that is gay fucking reparations. I guess it is.
Now, I did have a question that I put in the chat.
Would baby bonds work? Yeah, we'll get to it. Yep, we'll get to it. So, fam, these little housing programs that they're talking about. So Dr. Darity concludes, he said, these encouraging numbers, already the product of many generous assumptions, are a consequence of using the median gap as the target. When one considers the mean gap, the story changes substantially. If there are approximately 16 million black households in the United States and all of them experience a $67,080 increase in net worth, which is unlikely, the total monetary gain in black wealth would amount to 1.07 trillion. This would reduce the mean gulf in black and white wealth by a mere 10% rather than the 40% increase gauged at the median, unquote. So even with all of the most optimistic numbers, using the median wealth gap, not the mean, Dr. Darity states that this is a no-brainer. It won't close the racial wealth gap by itself. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. Now, here's another thing, another program, education. Pete Buttigieg, I think is how you pronounce his name, right, is talking about financial support for HBCUs. Now, I can't speak for you, but I know a few people that have attended HBCUs. All right. Now, what I have heard these days from people who are attending HBCUs is that there are a lot more immigrants and other people going to HBCUs than there are actual native, foundational black folk. Right? Ms. Benny, would you give me a battery? So I've already got some concerns about throwing more money at HBCUs. I'm just going to keep it a buck, right? Not to mention the fact that we need to talk about something that Yvette talks about a lot, but I don't think we really get as ADOS folk. Yvette talks about us getting plugs with no outlets. And I want you to understand what that analogy means, right? We often hear, well, black folk would do better if they just had more opportunities to get advanced education, right? If we were all able to go to college, we could by ourselves practically eliminate the racial wealth gap, because with higher educations, we'll get higher incomes, more opportunities, so on and so forth. Yeah, except there's one little problem with that, fam. We get the educations, but then no outlet to be able to utilize our educations. We get degrees that no one will hire us in. Or we get advanced degrees and we're told that we're overqualified. Let me go through the chat real quick and shout everybody out here. I got, let's see here. I got Gorgeous Gorillowitz in the house. What up, bruh? I got Brother Al, esteemed Brother Al. Peace to you, fam. I see you. Happy Hump Day. And Thomas B's in the house. Welcome to the broadcast. Fam, I need you to understand that continuing to give us plugs but still blocking the outlets is a sucker play for ADOS. You can't keep giving us access to education, right? You can't keep saying that, oh, we'll give you more opportunities for business loans when we already come into an environment where every business that's there is looking to basically entrench itself and protect its position. Capitalism's supposed to be about competition, yet today, everything in this capitalist system is about locking out competition and increasing and entrenching your position. It is about the calcification of gains. There's no more growth. So loaning us money at this late point in the game, when everybody else has had this long of a head start and been able to generate a huge amount of wealth and now are entrenching it. You got corporations in America, fam, that are sitting literally on trillions of dollars in cash. I'm not talking about buildings. I'm not talking about R&D. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about liquid cash bread. Trillions. And they're just sitting on it. They're just sitting on it. They're not investing it. They're not putting it back into the economy. The government keeps reducing the tax rates on these corporations so they're not taxing the money away. They're just hoovering it up like gigantic fucking vacuums. So what are they supposed to do? Give us business loans so that we too can have our little business capital hoovered up by these mega corporations that they won't do shit about? Facts, Albert, is bullshit. How many of y'all know black folk with master's degrees, with doctorates, who are working in, for lack of a better way to say it, entry-level positions, because that's all they can get? For those of you who have or are working towards your doctorate, how many of your doctoral advisors are telling you not to go for your doctorate, but they're minting new white doctorates every day? So you got to push, scratch, scrape, bash your head against the door just to even get a chance at your doctorate. Then once you get it, good luck getting some funding for any additional research or further postdoctoral work. They keep trying to give us plugs, fam, but no outlets. No outlets to plug them in. We a bunch of niggas with extension cords all over the place and no place to plug into the power. That is what this advocacy is about. It is about making sure that when we are done, we have the capability to plug into the machine just like everybody else do. When we plug into it, we get proportionally out of it what is ours to get, like everybody else. And if we don't get it, nobody the fuck else get it. I agree, Big Unc. None of what I'm saying means don't get your degrees, don't open your businesses, so on and so forth. But what this means is understand that the system is rigged right from the get-go. They don't have a problem with ADOS folk getting advanced degrees. We're not living back in the days of W.E.B. Du Bois having to break his way into Harvard. No. You can go to Harvard if you're ADOS. It's going to cost you a fuck ton, but you can go. But how likely are you able to parlay your Harvard degree into something real after you graduate? You're not legacy. You're not a member of these elite fraternities that are in the Ivy League, so you haven't been able to network. Again, plugs with no fucking outlets. And we have to address that, fam. We have to be honest about that. I think at this particular point, it's insulting to us as ADOS to come to us touting education as a cure to our ills. Black women are have the highest rate of college entry and graduation of any ethnic group in this country, second to none. So why are they woefully underrepresented in the employment sphere, in the entrepreneurial sphere, in upper management, in companies and shit? Let's keep it a buck, fam. Our sisters get degrees at rates other ethnic groups could only fucking dream of. If education was a way to close the racial wealth gap in any substantive manner, our sisters alone would have closed it. But strangely enough, it hasn't happened. Because they don't mind our sisters getting these degrees. So boosting HBCUs, fam, I'm not with it. I'm already not with it. Like already, this seems off brand to me. And besides, what the fuck is $25 billion gonna do? $25 billion, right? Let's take a look at the endowments that are held by the largest universities, right? The 10 HBCUs with the largest endowments. Endowments are funds that the university can use to run its operations, fam. These are usually given by people in in their wills and things like that, right? Like if you make a success of yourself and you went to say Howard, right? In your will, you can elect to leave Howard some money, and that becomes a part of Howard's endowment. Okay? Now, Howard is the largest with 689 million, followed by Spelman at 387 million. Now, if all 10 of the top HBCUs, right, the ones with the largest endowments, could deposit additional $250 million into their endowments, that sum would more than double, right, to 4.5 billion, right? Because they currently have right now a total of like 2 billion. It's almost 2 billion, right? So it'd be about 4.5 billion, right? But that amount would still be smaller than the values of the endowments at a single major state university like the University of Michigan at 12 billion in endowments, the University of Virginia at 8.6 billion, Ohio State University at 5.2 billion, and the University of North Carolina, UNC at Chapel Hill, 5 billion. So even if you were to deposit this money that Booty Grease is talking about giving into the endowments of the top 10 HBCUs, their total number of endowments would not even match one major public university's endowments. Nobody wants to fucking talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about that. Fam, hit that like button, share this one. Because we talking about it today. If you hooked up all of the top 10 of our HBCUs with an additional $250 million. If you combined all their endowments into one, it wouldn't even touch UNC at Chapel Hill. But that's supposed to be doing something for ADOS folk. Never mind the fact that it's not like HBCUs are primarily recruiting from an ADOS student base. No, they're taking African immigrants, diasporan immigrants, Chinese immigrants. Hell, Rachel Dolezal went to Howard, didn't she?
I believe it was Howard, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel Dolezal went to Howard. So it's not like the HBCUs are saying, from now on with this new bread, we are only taking ADOS students. You have to establish your lineage as somebody who comes from an enslaved ancestor before you can go here. It's not like they're doing that. So throwing money at HBCUs is a losing fucking proposition for about the 90% of us that won't go to a HBCU for whatever reason. Either we didn't qualify to go to college, we can't afford to go to college, we dropped out of high school, or whatever the case may be. So now they talk about the one that everybody been so hypey about, reducing the student debt. Now, Dr. Darity acknowledges on the face of it, this would be a universal program that would disproportionately affect black students because they hold a larger average amount of debt, right? But here's the thing. The amount of the gain in net worth by erasing student debt must be weighted by the enrollment rates for each group, because those who do not enroll in college or university do not acquire student loan debt. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he was being nice here, because that's a big ass duh, right? Whites currently have a higher enrollment rate than blacks, 41% versus 36%. Adjusting the amounts by enrollment rate, the black gain in wealth becomes $8,424, while the white gain in wealth becomes $6,560. Adding the former to the black median of $17,600 yields a total of $26,024. Adding the latter to the white median yields a total of $177,560. So although they may apparently not benefit as much as we might, the effect on the mean gap, you can't even see it. And on the median gap, it's 1%. 1%. Now, do I think that college education, trade education, shit like that should be free? Hell yeah. Education should be the right of every citizen. And if that makes me a leftist, fuck you. I don't care. To me, that just seems smart. I don't want to walk around with a bunch of dumb motherfuckers around me. I want education to be as available to everybody as possible. But to pretend that eliminating student loan debt is somehow or another going to benefit all of us as ADOS, it's just not there, fam. It's not there. I'm not saying that I have student loan debt, right? So, yeah, if they could just erase my shit, I'd be happy. But would that mean that it would necessarily affect my life so much to the better that I'm now way ahead of the game? No. It just means that's one less damn bill I got to pay. You feel me? I'm just keeping it a buck. By the way, let me go in. Richard's in the house. Sister Shar, I see you. Happy Hump Day to you, sister. Welcome to the broadcast. Open Heart said, how many slaves were sold to these schools? There's a lot of them. Do the work, fam. Do the work. A lot of these schools was built on the backs of our ancestors. That's just facts. Black men, I don't think they care about the facts. Because if they did, they would actually, they wouldn't be so shook when we present them with the facts. When you're done studying this report and you're up on your advocacy and you know the numbers, these are the latest numbers. This is hot off the presses. Once you read this report, fam, you will literally know more than most of the fucking politicians that are begging you for your vote. Oh, gorgeous, don't worry about it. I ain't got no faith, fam. I just meant that like in a very figurative fashion. So they talked about business ownership. We've kind of already addressed that, fam. You know that the total amount of receipts, right? The total, revenue of black businesses show a joint annual revenue of 150 billion out of 2.6 million businesses in the country, right? That's the state of black business enterprise. 150 billion across the board, right? Now, note here that Dr. Darity also states what I often tell you, that only 4% have additional employees beyond the owner. The average black-owned firm has fewer than 1.5 employees. Basically, there's the owner, right? Now, the top 100 grossed 24 billion in revenues and had fewer than 75,000 employees. Walmart by itself has 3.6 million employees with revenues of 450 billion. 3 times the volume for all black-owned businesses in America combined. That's one business, Walmart. Walmart's annual revenues is 3 times the amount of all the revenues that ADOS businesses have combined across the board. You don't have to like that. I don't like it. It is what it is. He also addresses the banking sector, right? The largest 5 black-owned banks had assets amounting to $2.3 billion. JP Morgan Chase by itself has $2 trillion in assets under its management. Morgan's assets are equivalent to 75% of the entire amount of wealth owned by Black America. Fam, we can put this shit to bed that them somehow giving us business loans and this, that, and the third. No fucking way. It won't even come close. Now, we're going to get to the baby bonds because I'm going to open up the phone. And I'm going to let y'all speak on it before we all finish it up and go and hang out with our sister Yvette for her broadcast, right? But there is one proposal that has a direct effect on black wealth, and that is the baby bond, right? Now, there's something I want to note. Dr. Darity, in conjunction with Dr. Dark Hamilton, right, came up with the concept of the baby bond, okay? Now, when they came up with the concept of the baby bond was supposed to be solely for ADOS babies, okay? Little black chillins, our babies, okay? And it also didn't have the use strictures on it either, right? Like Cory Booker's baby bonds plan, right, will give a child in descending amount, right? So as they go down in the wealth spectrum, the amount they get initially for their bond over time goes up, right? Up to, I think, a limit of about 46,500 at 18 years old max. Now, here's the thing, right? This is a goodness. The only problem with this is that there's a couple of issues with it. First of all, it is not directed specifically at ADOS folk. This is for every American child born. Anchor babies, immigrant children, you name it. Every American child gets access to the baby bond. So this is not a program that's specific or tangible just for us. All right? But if you look at all the numbers, right? And again, I left the link to the report here for you, and I'll do it again, and I'll also link to it in the description field of the video when we're done. When you take a look at the report, Dr. Darity says, among all the proposals examined here, opportunity accounts, which is actual name for the baby bond, after a sufficient number of cohorts have received the endowments, could have the largest effect on closing the racial wealth gap. In other words, over time, as more cohorts of children are able to take advantage of the opportunity account, it will have the largest effect at closing the racial wealth gap. Nevertheless, even this proposal cannot advance beyond 25% of the way toward meeting the goal of the complete erasure of the immense shortfall, unquote. So even as we get cycles of generations of ADOS children taking advantage of the opportunity account, aka the baby bond, it'll only go a quarter of the way towards closing the racial wealth gap. So we've seen that home ownership, especially the way they're trying to structure it, won't close the racial wealth gap. It won't even come close. Education, miss us with that shit. If you already read what we get wrong about the racial wealth gap, you know education's not going to close the racial wealth gap in any substantive fashion, right? Business loans and capital, unless they're talking about multiple trillions of dollars in infusions of capital for black businesses, black owned and controlled, ADOS owned and controlled businesses, won't substantively close the racial wealth gap. And even the one program that can and will have a major effect on the racial wealth gap only goes a quarter of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, your Democratic Party. Your Democratic Party. He makes some conclusions here. I will, let you kind of glance over these as a bit as I talk a little bit more to you. But basically, fam, as long as they keep coming at us with universal programs, basically putting a platform underneath us while everybody stands on our chests, we got work to do. We got work to do. Our advocacy is not done by a long shot. I don't give a damn if it's Booker, Harris, Gillibrand, you name it. If it's Booty Grease, whoever it is, Bernard Sanders, it don't matter. None of them have put forward anything that, first of all, is specific and directly benefits you and I as regards to the racial wealth gap and the justice claim. None of them have. So for that alone, so far, all of them should be canceled. But the few programs that they have put forward claiming to close the racial wealth gap, fam, won't do it. They simply will not do it. So there you have it, fam. They talk all this shit. They talk all of this shit, hoping that you get caught up in these glittering generalities. Fam, single issue advocacy. Do you support reparations for the American descendants of slavery up to and including but not limited to cash payments? Simple as that. Simple as that. Floor is yours, fam. 425-296-1980. You know what it is. Give us a call. Fam, I would have went into more detail like I did with what we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. But the fact is that to really chew on this would take us hours. Fam, you said it's quiet? Family, pop a one in the chat if you can hear me. I need to know where we at as far as audio goes. Hit me with a 1. Let me know if you can still hear me, fam. Good, okay. So I guess Gorgeous is talking about it's quiet on they front. Got you, fam. All right. The floor is yours, fam. 425-296-1980. Black man, you too drunk. You supposed to have your libations during the broadcast, fam. Not before. Damn it. You supposed to have your libations before. No, Gorgeous, I got you. But clarify it for us, because I want to make sure I don't misrepresent you, fam. Fam, I wanted to, while I wait for a call to call in, I wanted to remind you all that we need everybody on the front line. I need y'all to hear me and hear me clearly. We need each and every last one of you to step up to the plate in your fashion. I don't care what it is. Not everybody's cut out to do YouTube videos or social media, but everybody could put on a pair of shoes and hit their neighborhood. All right. Everybody is not meant to be a public speaker. That's cool. But everybody can go on ADOS 101.com and print out what our agenda is and hand it out to their friends and family and start a conversation. We need each and every last one of you. Yeah, fam. I'm gonna try to address that too. Calling from 606. It's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
This is gorgeous, Gorillawitz.
That's my man. Holla at you. Holla at us, fam. What's good with you?
I'm gonna holler at everybody.
Do that then.
We have to. What's that?
I said, do that then.
Yeah. Mark Black. You're good. You're deep. You have factual. You do the work. It's not going to hit everybody.
In to read my boots today. Don't beat around the bush.
What's
damn
that?
it. Get at it.
No. I'm keeping it real.
It's all love.
See,
I can definitely use the birds knocked off me. So if you got something that's going to help me to be a better advocate, I want to hear it.
Help you to be a better advocate? No, you're good, man. I want to ask you a question.
Ask away.
Do you think, honestly, ego, all that entailed, are people feeling you?
Good question. If you're asking me honestly, I would have to say yes.
Okay.
I'm experiencing fairly steady growth. Now, I can only base that off of the number of people watching and things like that, right? So I will simply say that based off of the number of people watching, the number of subscribers that I'm getting, yes, I'm reaching peak.
Man. Yeah, I know you have. You've reached out to me. And what I'm getting at is it's not even about that. Because the true agenda, what needs to be done, look, everybody can't do it. Everybody cannot do it. So
explain yourself.
As
man.
long
when
as
you say everybody can't do it, what exactly do you mean?
What I mean is
take your time.
A lot of they can't. Okay, so I was attracted to you based off of how you talked, and I understand words.
Right.
My mother is a linguistics professor, so it's I understand words.
Yes, sir.
And your words spoke up to me, and it was ooh, back in the day, forget all the technology, forget everything. Your word was your bond.
Facts.
Right? So you can't just talk freely or loosely. It's so I recognize that in you. And I was I got to pay attention. And it's oh, yeah, I'm looking for the downfall. I'm looking for the slack. I'm looking for all of that. But it never happened. And so I can't put myself in everybody else's shoes who's listening to you. Everybody wants to hear the word of the day or whatever, but what you're saying is it comes from a factual base. It's not you're opinionated. You're coming from, hey, but you can't. It's kind of like technology. It's how do you but everybody can't get down. Everybody cannot get down.
So let me ask you a question, if I may, fam. There are people in the chat, obviously, at this particular point, who beg to differ with you. But I'm going to grant you that your argument that everybody can't get down.
I wasn't talking to the people that are down. I wasn't against people that are down.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to address where you at. All right?
Yeah, I'm gorgeous.
So,
I'm gorgeous.
If that turns out to be the case, okay, and I'm not saying it is, but I'm granting you for the sake of argument that that's the case, right? We're dealing in rhetoric right now, right? So you're familiar with linguistics. You
Yes,
understand
yes,
the
yes,
use
yes,
of
yes, yes,
rhetoric,
yes,
okay? So
yes, yes.
rhetorically, right? Let's assume for the sake of argument that you are correct. What would you then ascribe the relative value of each mouth, each advocate to this cause? In other words, if you're correct that not everybody can get down, right? Then how
Right.
much more important is it that those who are down be the voices for those who, for whatever reason, cannot, in your opinion?
It's a it's about self. It's about how you look at yourself, and you actually look at yourself and answer the question. If you have flaws, so what? That's not what we're talking about. We're black. We're in a struggle. We're looking for true people. It's no different from if you go out to the gang or whatever you do, but you're looking for people that identify what you're on, and you're not asking or forcing your ways on people.
Ah,
You're speaking where only the select few will gravitate.
I understand now. Now that makes sense. I appreciate it. So, fam,
Yeah, I'm very extreme.
no, hey, no worries, fam. And I'm gonna clarify, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I'm gonna clarify for the
Hmm?
chat. Basically,
Yeah.
fam, what he's saying um, is that at the end of the day, you have to be the one to ask where you can get in and get in there. Am I right?
It's not about getting in. It's not about getting in. It's about who are you. If I listen to Mark Black, I identify with what he's saying. If I don't, and it's something new, then it's like, okay, well, what is he saying? Because a lot of people are out here listening to you, but they're dealing with their real world. So it's like, but this is not a judgment on them. This is like, hey, everything you have said, like once I came across you, it's like you're talking about tactics. You're talking about like Neely Fuller. You're talking about all of this, but you're throwing it in smooth with your calm voice. But you throw it in, and you're not forcing it. But like people need to, it's serious out here.
I
Like,
hear you.
and the more you talk about and you throw up different examples about this and that, all of us out here are dealing with it. Now, what I'm saying is, all right, you're proof in the pudding. We hear it loud and clear.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just sit back? Okay, well, you don't have to like jump at it at face value, but you would do it at church. Relax. I'm just saying. It's like, think about it. Think about it. And it's coming from somewhere else. My mother said to me, if A and B say something about you, all right, you can cast that away. But if A and G and H say something about you, you better pay attention.
I hear you, fam. Hey, man, I appreciate the knowledge you dropping, man, the information.
No, dude, you're awesome, man.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
keep
get off
doing
the
what I
phone.
do,
I
fam.
know.
I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I keep
You're
appreciating
awesome, man.
you and what you the support and the love you show me, man. I'm gonna open it up and let some people call in. But man, thank you for just
Yeah.
dropping a word, because we definitely needed to hear that. And you welcome to call back in anytime, fam.
No, I'm gonna leave you alone.
No,
But
you
anyway.
good, fam. Peace. Yeah, fam, I hear you. Fam, I am of the mind that my job as an ADOS advocate is to mint more Mark Blacks, as you well know, right? So while I don't ascribe to the idea that nobody, that there are people who can, who can't get on with, this justice claim to cleave to our lineage and so on and so forth, I can understand the sentiment that Too many people spend a lot of time doing a lot of jibber jabbering and side eyeing, trying to look for the flaws instead of getting in on board and fixing and doing the work and doing what needs to be done, right? So I definitely understand that sentiment. 425 296 1980. I did have a call before. Caller, call back in. The line is open. I can only take one call at a time. Sorry, I'm not, high side. I'm not big balling yet. I'm working on it, fam. Hey, support me via Patreon. It's just one of many things I would like to do is have multiple lines so that we can have callers on the line waiting to jump right on in. 425-296-1980, fam, is the number. Drop me a line. Here we go. Caller from 301. It's your man, Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Make sure you turn down the background too, fam. I want to make sure that we get good call quality for the people.
Hello, Mark.
Yeah, brother. This is Mark Black. Holla at me.
Hello?
Yeah, fam. This is Mark Black, man. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, fam. What's on your mind?
What's on my mind? Well, the subject that you're on tonight, I think is right on time. To keep this this conscious movement going. That we got to be out here advocating in the way that we can do it the best. The best way we know how. We all not. All of us are not economists. All of us, some of us may be economists. Some of us may be good philosophers. We are not monolithic. We are a diversity of abilities and so forth. So we have to reach out to. So it's my feeling that we have to reach out to each other the best way we can. Like start with my friend and I, we talk, constantly when something, need, when an event or either you are on, live and so forth, and then I, text other people and let them know, about it and so forth. So that's a number of ways where we can reach out, and begin to advocate for our just cause. And,
now let me ask you a question, fam, because you know how Mark Black roll, right? If you call in,
yeah.
you liable to become a part of the show. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
In your mind, right? Don't you're listening to your man Mark Black, and I definitely appreciate your support, right? Tell me right now, in 30 seconds, where your place is, right? Where's your advocacy spot, right? It don't have to be what I'm doing. It don't have to be what anybody doing. What are you, fam, doing? You are willing to do to push home this advocacy, to press home this justice claim.
I'm willing to touch bases, to get in touch with as many people as I can, to bring them up, to reach out to them, to make them aware of, to sort of like what I came onto this ADOS thing mostly through Yvette.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm for trying to build a groundswell. If we can get enough people, if we can get enough people advocating, if we can get enough people in the same spirit, those who believe in spiritualism, if we get enough people with the same attitude or the same vibration and so forth, we can build a groundswell where we can begin to have an impact on, bringing about transformative politics, advocating for.
No, I hear you, fam. I hear you now. Where in that are you, right? In other words, what you're saying is true, no doubt. Okay.
Right.
This is what we
right now. Right now, I'm trying to. Right now, what I'm doing is reaching out to as many people as I can, making people aware of what ADOS is about, sort of like, getting in touch with people about ADOS and our justice claim and so forth. I don't know if you would consider that educational.
I consider that to be educational. It may even be inspirational. I just wanted the reason why I asked, fam, was not to put you on the spot, but I want us.
No, that's a good question.
I want us to get into the mind state of every day asking, what are we doing specifically, us, right? We have our advocates, right? We have Antonio, right? Brother Tone Talks. We have Yvette, right? We have Professor Black Truth. We got Tariq Nasheed. We got, TBA, and so on and so forth, right? We have all these people that are out here publicly speaking on this advocacy, all right? But at the end of the day, we can't drive a damn thing without y'all. We have to have y'all out there with specific game plans, with specific ideas. In other words, fam, I wanted to ask you that because I want all of us to consider always, what are we doing today to further this justice claim, to press home this advocacy, and to ask that question honestly. If we're doing fuck all, admit that, right? If we're not doing nothing, admit that and try to find a place to get in where you fit in, right? But fam, I want to say thank you because I got other callers calling in. Thank you so much for calling in today. You have a great one, and peace to you.
Peace unto you, Mark.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, fam. I know you all were trying to call in. I'm ready to hear from you. I think the brother, see, fam, I want you to understand something. This ain't about chiding each other. This ain't about driving each other into the ground, right? We all have some hard questions that we need to ask, not just each other, but ourselves every day about where it is we truly stand in relation to our lineage, to our heritage, to our justice claim, right? So when you call into the show, to the broadcast, and I ask you, where's your advocacy? What are you doing? You need to be able to answer that. Not for me, but for you. Call from 323. It's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Yeah, make sure you turn down the background too as well, fam.
Yeah, I just did.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Mark, again, Vernell from L.A.
Yes,
we're having our town hall meeting this coming weekend. We're supposed to have, I think, Boris, I haven't been messing up the man's name. I've been calling him Moist. And we having the other cat from Powernomics.
And we have Dr. Claude Anderson.
Claude Anderson. And then we have Mark Stevenson coming down from Sacramento. He's going to be speaking and talking about ADOS and what we're about and stuff like that.
That's what's up. And you said that's this coming weekend?
Yes, sir. That's this coming weekend.
Are you
Saturday?
You follow me on Twitter, right, Vernon?
Yes, sir.
Make sure to DM me, and I'll make sure to tweet it out, and I'll also do a share here on my channel to let people know where to. I'll
DM you ADOS leader out here, so you can get. Matter of fact, I think I got the flyer. I'll just forward that to you.
I appreciate that, fam. I'll make sure to share it far and wide. For those of you down there in LA, Orange County, in that area, make sure that you pay attention this weekend. Clear your calendar and go get up on some information and some advocacy. What else did you want? What else did you want to say to us today, fam?
This is part of the issue that we're dealing with. We told ourselves a story, but it was in our heads. We said it wasn't that bad. It will get better over time. These people are dying. Every scenario we created, it came out with a perfect ending for us.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
like fairy tales often do.
Yeah, like in psychology they call it magical thinking.
Yep.
Yeah, the young crowd. When these old heads die, racism gonna die along with them, and we getting shot up by 21-year-olds.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
You know. Or they saying these people are dying at such a high rate. No, they introducing the new white supremacists. And here's the thing: we act like we didn't know that Latinos were auditioning for the white leadership role. They've been in audition for a while.
They've been on that shit for a minute. It started with the Marielitos that came over on the Cuban boat lifts back in the 70s and shit. All of them Cubans down in South Florida and all of that, fam, they primarily vote Republican. They've been on some tryouts for future white supremacists. They want to be the next group to be made white.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, and that when Yvette was talking about that, it made so much sense why the people from Africa and the islands were saying, "I'm not black, I'm this," because they know this thing that carries that disdain of blackness. That's supposed to be the seek and the destroy.
Fam, the most solid point I thought that Sister Yvette made when she was discussing this matter was that it's not just choosing whiteness, it's a rejection of blackness. And I think that we need to internalize that deep down in our frontal lobe. When these folk come here, fam, it's not just that they
but here's the problem with that,
whiteness, though. They're rejecting
Here's the problem with that. Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Where we have that problem is we're also doing it. We just don't know it. That classical conditioning, how something can get past you, something can get past your defenses without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
So we internalize it. So a lot of our advocacy or fear of advocacy is a lot of people on the spiritual tip. They don't think we deserve nothing. They still on the white Jesus tip. It's afraid, and that's the problem with baby boomers. They did a real job on us with that white Jesus. We're not finna challenge white people because as baby boomers, they did the Jesus thing on us.
I'm gonna tell you, fam, I don't think it's so much a religious thing, but I think you're absolutely right when you say that we are acculturated to be white supremacists. I talk about this often when I talk about our acculturation, ACCULTUREATION, acculturation, right? It is different from inculturation. Inculturation is when you're receiving as a child the transfer of your culture, your normal culture, right?
Let me give it to you like this.
Foreign culture that is being transmitted among you. Go ahead, fam.
Let me put it to you like this here. In psychology, they have a term called parentage. This is where if the parent is on a substance, the child becomes the parent and the parent becomes the child. In a sense, that didn't happen with us, but even to our own fault, we've been trained to put their lives or make their lives more important than ours. Yeah. For instance, even though I'm drowning, I got to think of how I'm going to save them in the midst of me drowning. Or if I act in my own interest, my first thought is what they're going to think.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that is why we needed ADOS, because without the language to be able, fam, I know you guys want to call in. I can only take one call at a time. I'm addressing.
Yeah, let me say this. I'm gonna get off. The thing that made us that hurt us the most is we didn't have a fence around our gate, so every predator that could come through, no matter what their ethnicity, color, race, size was, they were able to come in, get what they want, defecate on us, and laugh about it. Absolutely. Because we never had qualifications. Now, here we had all these achievements, but never no qualifications. Mm-hmm. Now, that wasn't bad. The only problem is you erect that after freedom, not before.
Facts. And not only that, but no one else in this country is operating that way. Nobody else had a slavery here. Yeah.
But that speaks to the volume of who we are, because we saw and that's where that magical thinking was. We saw that every other black person's highest aspiration, highest goal will be freedom. We didn't know that they like the shiny stuff, and they didn't give a damn about freedom or what's the name. They wanted some bling bling and some shiny stuff. That's why Africans come here and they don't fight for freedom. They fight for shiny stuff.
Yep, absolutely. They want. Hey, they here for the green god.
They're economic
They
refugees.
are completely mercenary, fam. They ain't caring about God bless America. They don't care about the highest ideals and all men are created equal. They don't give a damn about none of that. What they care about is the green god, the tangibles.
Of course, which I don't
blame them.
But I got to say this, but I'm looking at Dr. Carl something. Anyway, he's a professor at Howard. And I'm looking at this man. He got about 20 people over in Egypt. And I'm saying, why are you fighting this so damn hard? That butter biscuit will spoil if ADOS is successful.
Facts.
Real quick, remind everybody to go to the stream from Al Jazeera. Tom Talks was on Al Jazeera talking about talking about Cynthia Erivo. Did anybody see that?
I'm gonna go you one better because I did watch it, and I'm gonna go and let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Give me just a second here. Al Jazeera stream.
But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get off here. I tell you I used to live in West Africa. So in Lagos, they have Nollywood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nollywood was being taken over by Ghanaian actors. Ghanaians sent all their mixed race actors from Lebanese kids because Ghana has a big Lebanese population. Well, these were considered exotic by the Africans. They were stealing the Nigerian thunder. Did you know what Nigerians did? They cut them off like it was a piece of rotten fruit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fam, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go because I want to let
my brother. All right.
in. But I
Yes,
definitely
sir.
feel where you're coming from on that. We could talk about that
All right.
on a different broadcast because that goes deep.
Yes, sir. All right.
Peace,
you have
fam.
a blessed one, brother.
All right, calling from 903. You've been waiting.
Right.
What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? I already know who this is.
Well, I'm going to sit there and tell you one thing, all right? I know I have my libations, right?
Yes, sir.
But I really want y'all to go back and look at the CNN debate when they asked, what do you think about reparations? Everybody had their hand down. The only person who raised their hand was Kucinich from Ohio. He said, yes, there needs to be a debt be paid. But then 2 weeks ago, they said, who will raise their hands for illegals getting health care? Everybody raised their hand. We're being fooled.
Yep.
Stop playing. Look at the debate. I'm serious. I'm being dead. I know I've been drinking. I know I'm drunk. I know what I am right now. But I still know the facts.
Facts.
And the facts are, go back and look at the debate. Obama didn't raise his hand. Hillary didn't raise her hand. Romney, nobody raised their hands. The only person who raised their hand was the guy from Ohio, Kucinich, or I can't remember his name right now. Yeah, he raised his hand from Ohio.
Yeah.
He says there is a debt that needs to be paid. He's the only one. And then what do y'all think about illegals getting health care? Everybody raised their hand. They're sitting there saying, fuck. I'm sorry.
No, you good, fam.
Screw y'all. But you know, Mark, I'm just sitting there telling y'all, I don't do this on YouTube because I can't do that. But I do it to bring out information for y'all. Y'all go look it up. Y'all go look at it and go see it.
Yep.
And come holler at me later if I was wrong. So I'm out. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right,
Bye.
man. Peace, fam. Yeah, fam. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we already know that we're not seeing what we need to be seeing from either the right wing of the bird or the left wing of the bird. If we're being honest, fam, there's a lot more advocacy that needs to be done. We don't have the time for any backseaters any naysayers, any pardon my language. I was about to start cursing, y'all, and I've been doing good. We don't have time for any of that. You feel me? We need solid, true, cleaved to our lineage and our heritage warriors. We need warrior scholars, right? I get tired of people talking about that we need to escalate this advocacy to, like, doing this and doing that when they still don't even know the information. When I can do a broadcast laying out a report by one of our esteemed scholars and I don't have 200 people watching, right? We got some work to do. You feel me? Calling from 973. It's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? And make sure you turn your background down for us, please.
This advocacy to, like, doing this and doing that.
Mark Black.
When they still don't.
Yeah, make sure you turn down that background for us.
Yeah, I got you, bro.
I appreciate it.
Turn that back down. I'm going to turn that background down. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, fam. What's your name?
My name is Dale, man, calling from New Jersey, man.
Thanks, Dale. All right, Dale. What's on your mind, fam?
Yeah, man, I want to talk about what's going on in this country, man. The problem is a lot of guys, a lot of us in this country, man, we don't travel, so we don't get a idea of what's really going on in the world. A lot of the stuff that's going on in this country has been done in Europe. The New World Order is real if people don't, for logic speak, understand. Like how the thing now is everything is racism. You got to understand who's been implementing the racism on us. We've been voting for these damn Democrats, excuse my language,
No, you good, fam?
for over 5 decades.
Yep.
Anybody in their right mind, as a Negro, I don't like to use the term African American because, like I said, all that was hijacked once the Civil Rights Bill was passed and they started importing all these people over here. So I don't like to use that term African American. It's a way to just, I'd rather go with black American.
Yep, black American, Negro.
I don't like to use that term African because what they did was put us all in one big melting pot and made it a total disaster.
What they call what Tone call it, fam? Flat black.
Yeah, flat black. I'd rather use that term because, like I said, a lot of this stuff that goes on here, like I told talking to my lady the other day, and I told her, let you try to go to Nigeria, any of these other countries on the other side of the continent and try to open a business and see where they get you.
Facts.
They'll try to hang men. They're very tribal. So when they talk all this, let's go back to Africa. My family roots are here in America. You are an American. You're not an African.
Yeah.
That is all put here to confuse, have you going all over the place calling yourself African. Find your folks. Your folks is here in this country.
But see, check this out, though, right? They want to look at us, though, sideways when we tell the truth on the matter. You feel me? When we talk about the Osu and the Diallo, the Diallo and the Osu and the Ohu amongst the Nigerians, amongst the Igbos and shit, right? Look at what's happening in Nigeria right now. They're on the verge of having a civil war over there. But we supposed to be, Atlas carrying the weight of everybody black on the whole fucking planet on our shoulders. When we can't even, we have 400 years of history in this country.
Exactly.
And we're fighting for our place in the sun where we are. But we supposed to play Atlas for everybody else. And you know what? In the immortal words of my damn self, fuck I look like.
Exactly. Like I said, man, we lost our ability to critically think in so many words. We lost our ability to think. You have to understand. Soon, like I said, I'm not for either party, Republican or Democrat. Mm-hmm. I never voted for Obama because I seen the shtick. I knew he was just a panderer.
Yep.
So he never caught me. I'm a critical thinker. I look, and like I said, words are spells. They have spells. You have to pay attention and listen to what these people are saying. The Democrat Party is no more. Like I told my girl, I said, don't you know it's power in all of us just saying, you know what? We ain't even participating in this fraud. You imagine 50 to 60 million people, native blacks in this country, not voting for either party, that will force them to come talk to us.
You feel me? Man, look, we stay on that, fam. It's not
I
necessarily
say
so
don't
much
vote
that,
for neither one.
yeah, it's
Just
not
don't
necessarily
participate.
so much that I'm telling you don't vote your local interests and things like that, right? But when it comes to the
Yeah.
national tip, we need to be on the same page as a block. If they not coming and talking to us in a language we understand, then they can miss us with any requests or demands for our vote. Because it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's just they want to pander. Like I tell, like I want to go to the side and talk about Donald Trump here. Donald Trump. Let me tell you how hypocritical the Democrat Party was. Donald Trump was a lifelong Democrat. He voted to their dad. I mean, he hung out with Chuck Schumer,
Yep.
Oprah, Hollywood. They all loved Donald Trump. When he was
Yep.
on The Apprentice, they couldn't. Everybody wanted to be Donald Trump. But as soon as that man became president, he's a racist.
Yep.
He's a racist. They use racist now is a political football. It doesn't have no meaning because you have white liberals that are Democrats that are racist, and you have Republicans that are racist.
Fam,
They're all
this is what I call them. The so-called liberals or progressives. I call them soft racists. They're the ones who want the benefits of white supremacy, but not enough to necessarily kill you for it. And then you got the hard racists, right? The ones that want the benefits and are willing to put in the work. That's the only damn difference.
Exactly.
So when they keep trying to come at us with this dog whistle of racism, I don't give a fuck. They've all been racist. All
They did.
44 of the presidents before Donald Trump, every single one was racist.
And then you talk about Al Sharpton. All these guys, they were buddies. I keep telling people, Donald Trump is part of the 1%. He knows the game. The Democrat Party is mad as hell at Donald Trump because he switched parties and stopped their fucking agenda. Like I told people, it's funny how Trump won that border wall. He won the money from the Supreme Court for the border wall. He won that. The wall is being built. The Mueller report was a dud. They're in panic mode.
Man, they casting out every line they got, hoping to get us to bite, except the one.
And then
except the one that we want to eat.
Exactly. And then you got racist ass with Jim Crow Joe talking about the Ku Klux Klan. Dude, it was your party that was doing the lynching, taking over the land. Like, people, do your history. These people are a freaking joke, man. And when I see them on TV, it just, oh my man, it just gets my blood boiling because I'm like, you're the same party. You ain't said nothing about overturning any of the crime bills that you and Bill Clinton passed in the 90s. You ain't talking about overturning none of that.
What did Bill Clinton run on? He said, we're not your grandparents, Democrats. Yeah, we're not the ones that are trying to do any justice for ADOS folk. The ones that came during the civil rights movement who said, okay,
Exactly.
Even then they fought us tooth and nail on desegregation, on redlining, on everything. And then they instituted
everything.
You know what, fam, I'm going to let you go here in a bit. I'm going to give you the last word, but...
all right, Mark, man, I want to touch on, man, I just want to say, man, to my native blacks in this country, man, you gotta critically think, man. It's bigger than what you think was going on. What's going on is global. They already took over Europe. They want America. They want the land of milk and honey now.
Yep.
They want to turn us all into debt slaves. They want us competing with people that have no rights in this country. Here it is. You can't, as a citizen of this country, go and get health care. But they giving illegal immigrants crossing the border sovereignty. Well, you can't even ask these jokers they damn name. But they shooting you down like dogs in the street. Where's the campaigning? Where's anybody coming out speaking on our issues? Like Professor Black True said, it's time for us to circle our wagons.
Facts.
If both your parents don't descend from this country, we ain't freaking with you. And I'm out, Mark.
That's my man right there. Woo! Fam, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's time to circle the wagons. Okay? Look, this thing, we don't realize right now, fam, but we will. I'm hoping so. We don't realize, fam, the power that ADOS has in America to alter the whole global game. I'm going to let you in on a little secret in case you ain't know. America is the linchpin of global white supremacy. You pull the pin out here, the whole motherfucking kit and caboodle falls everywhere else. Why do you think our fight here for justice is the hardest one? Right? CARICOM can get the UK to admit to slavery and, have debates in Parliament with MPs talking about paying reparations, and then they can push home, justice for the Windrush generation and so on and so forth, right? Like everybody else, because the UK is no longer a global empire, so it don't really cost them all that much to just go ahead and put paid to the bullshit, the last tail end of the bullshit they laid down. But America is an imperial hegemon, the last bastion, the linchpin of global white supremacy. Now, if these Pan-Africans and these diasporans and other Africans and so on and so forth actually had any smarts, they would be backing our play right down the line. Because if we bust this grape here, everywhere else the cookie crumbles. It all falls apart. Why do you think our fight is the hardest? Why do you think our justice claim is the biggest? Because when we're able to push this one home and to put this baby to bed, white supremacy is done everywhere. At that point, it's just a mop-up operation. We have to value, though, that position of power, and we need to be exclusive about it at this point. We can't include everybody in on this fight. Damn looking for allies, they ain't out there. Damn looking for people who's on our team. If they're not demonstratively standing up on their own, regardless of what we're talking about, and fighting for our justice claim, they are not our allies. We don't have to waste no time addressing them. We don't have to address them, fam. Trust me, ADOS has come to make this advocacy so simple that even a child can do it. And all you and I have to do is ground ourselves in the data, cleave to our lineage and our heritage, and press the biggest goddamn check this government and this world has ever seen. Press it to be paid, and paid in full. And it's done. And it's done. Do you know the position in which you're sitting right now, fam? Do you know the position that you are sitting in right now? You are at the forefront. Everybody tell us we need to go to Africa. We need to return to the motherland and all this and that and the third. No. If you really want to destroy white supremacy, if you want to destroy whiteness as the tool of oppression and dominion that it has been for nigh on 600 years, you got no better place to be than right here in the good old United States of America. And you could take that to the bank. That is facts. We, the American descendants of slavery, the children of the impossible, are going to do the impossible. We are going to break the back of the biggest, foulest snake that's ever existed on the planet. And we're going to do it by our goddamn selves. We're not going to sit around and wait on somebody to get on the team. We're not going to sit here and beg people to be about justice. We are coming to bring justice. We are coming to give birth to justice. And when our work is done, we will not only have freed ourselves, but we will already have done 90% of the work that the whole rest of the globe needs to do. And the best part about it is you ain't got the mule for nobody. The best part about it is you ain't got to kiss nobody ass to be about this business. The best part about it is you can be as exclusive as you want to be. And the whole rest of the globe, all they can do is get mad and hold their own nuts. Because it's our turn. It's our time. Nobody else could do what we have done. And nobody else will do what we will do. It's as simple as that, fam. Nobody else. You, my ADOS brothers and sisters. We all we need. And we all we got. So we can stop casting about looking for people to validate us. Validate your damn self. Your ancestors validated you. They paid the blood price already for you to have tickets to the, admission tickets to the greatest show on earth. You don't need nobody else's validation. You don't need nobody's permission. You don't need to concern yourself about what anybody else thinks or how they feel about what we're doing over here as ADOS folk. For the first time ever in our long travails over here, we don't have to be concerned about nobody else but us. Nobody else. You don't have to worry about what's happening over there, what's happening over here, what these people think about you, what these people think about you. All you have to do is be accountable to us as your family, get in where you fit in, hold hands with us, right? Link up with your lineage, and let's get the work done. It's time to stop bullshitting. It's time to put up or shut up. It's time to put up or shut up. It's as simple as that. It's all in our blood. Right here. You feel me? Please. My ancestors' bones and the blood they shed on this land give me all the permission I need to do what the fuck I'm doing. I can't speak for you, but that's all I need to know. And I got the data on my side too. I've got the information that shows the clear dysfunction, that shows the clear criminality, the crime against humanity that has been visited upon us. I got that on my side too. Please. The best thing America could have done was paid us a long time ago, because now the check is due and it's huge. And we coming. And it will be cut. I can promise you that. It will be cut. And we, the David of the diaspora, the outcast of the outcast, the one that everybody feel like they can pillage, run through, run up on, we are the ones who are going to come out on top. Like Yeshua said, the last will be made first, and the first will be made last. And all you have to do is pick your place. Big ass battlefront. Pick your spot. Pick your weapons. Whether it's rhetoric and data like me, or whether it's boots, or whether it's feeding folk, or whether it's organizing businesses and gathering together people and putting them on land bases where they can be safe. Wherever your battle is in this thing, get in it. And let's put this goddamn baby to bed so we can move on with our generations moving forward and do something else. To do something else. Period. Fam, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I know Sister Yvette's going to be broadcasting pretty soon. Plus, I'm getting hungry and I'm old and I'm tired and I'm grumpy. Y'all know what it is. Thank you so much, all of you, for your support. Again, links in the description of the video to reports, resources. Richard, that's a huge question, fam. Huge question. One that actually, I think, to be honest, we ain't even there yet. It's a great question. I'm not shutting you down, but that one's huge. We'll have to touch on that in a different broadcast. You feel me? They should have, but August is right. They should have listened to King, because they could have got off light. Now we coming for T's, not B's. Fam, be ready for Sucker Free Saturday. You know how we do 4:30 PDT, right? So that's 5:30 Mountain, 6:30 Central, or 7:30 East Coast time, East Side, right? On Saturday, make sure you tune in. Click the links in the description, right? Get your resources, get your advocacy up. Consider becoming a patron of mine via Patreon. I'm asking you to put 5 on it, but hey, even if it's $1, it's appreciated and will go a ways to help me to do this work that I'm doing for you. And fam, and join the group, Facebook group. The URL is right there in the video. You also need to be following me on Twitter in case they decide Mark Black is a little too damn radical to be talking on YouTube. That's going to be our go-to so we can figure out where we going next, right? And until the next time I speak with you all, as always, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power, real power to our people.